What is up, guys? It's the first podcast. This is the Gringo Gossip podcast. Got three ugly as hell guys here about to talk about a beautiful sport. My name is Davidson. I'm from Ohio. Let the other two guys introduce themselves.
What's up? I'm Nick, coming to y'all live from Naples, Florida. I'm from Indiana, though. Don't let it fool you. Yeah, I've been an MMA fan for like 8 years now, so pretty much a grandmaster of all martial arts.
And it's your
Yeah,
boy over here from Indiana, brought to you live from the city where it's -3 degrees outside right now without the wind chill. Nick and his buddies actually put me on to MMA, so I'm still a white belt at heart. Always will. So hopefully we can bring some knowledge that we think we actually know a thing or two about. Probably not, though.
Corey, why don't you start us off, man? I know you got burning topics. What are we talking about first?
All right, man. Obviously, everyone's talking about it. What are we thinking about Mayweather being in the octagon? Do we think it's going to happen? Do we think O'Malley's going to bring enough of a draw for him to get that paycheck? Or who do you guys
Well,
think?
O'Malley has a fight booked right now. I read today he just got a fight booked with Andre Saltatama Kama.
Does in March.
Yeah, that card's shaping up nice.
Already
Hey,
gave
look.
up on the Mayweather deal.
Look, I think surprisingly there is some substance to this Mayweather deal.
No.
Look, if he's gonna get in the octagon and it's gonna be an MMA fight, not a kickboxing, he's got to fight the smallest dude in the UFC. And
Like
that
the
dude-
lowest ranked dude in the UFC, you could even argue.
Just throw him CM Punk and see what happens.
I don't see it happening, but apparently there's some traction to this shit.
Money talks.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Money definitely speaks in a large language to Floyd, but like Floyd has never been kicked in the leg. Floyd has never been kneed, elbowed,
Taken
grappled.
down. Yep.
Man, Floyd is a rich motherfucker who's 40 years old, and you expect him to get in the gym and start grappling and stuff. I don't see it.
Not a chance.
There's one champion that's on board with it. You guys see who that was?
No.
No, Mr. Dana White.
Said he would train Floyd personally himself for a MMA bout between Mayweather and McGregor. But you would have to think like, what would Mayweather fight at? Bantamweight, featherweight?
Realistically, I think bantamweight.
There's
I agree.
It'd have to be a weight fight then. It'd have to be a 135, 145. I don't think there's no way that Conor could get that. It'd have to be a catch weight.
Oh, if
Yeah,
he's gonna
it would have
then yeah, it's gonna have to be a 45.
Yeah. I personally don't see it happening. Dana White was on Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp today, and he was talking about he actually had a meeting with Mayweather's camp today. He said that he had a meeting with Mayweather's camp today. They keep entertaining the idea.
You know what? This same exact type of smokescreen is the same type of stories that were coming out about a year ago today about the McGregor Mayweather fight. So
No, you're absolutely
I'll
right.
believe anything at this point. You would think that this is just some publicity stunt, but shit.
I'll tell you one thing that's being rumored right now that I don't think is going to happen. And Dana, you can never really trust 1,000% what Dana says, but I could believe Dana on this one. The whole GSP Conor rumor that is out there for some reason, I don't think there's a chance in hell that fight happens. Like ever.
Firas Zahabi came out and said that he's more than willing. He said he was 100% behind it too. So, I mean, if you got the guys at TriStar, if you got his coaches, if you have his trainers all hyping it up, I mean, like you guys said, money talks, GSP's old, Floyd's old. I mean, obviously, like you guys said, GSP's game is just takedown, takedown, takedown. We didn't see it with Bisping much, but I mean, if he gets a chance, there's no way he's going to stand and bang with Floyd. There's no way.
And Dana said that if GSP ever comes back, he's got Woodley and Whitaker waiting.
Exactly.
That's it.
I'm not trying to come back to that if I'm GSP. No chance.
I agree with you. I agree.
I don't
And I've
want
been,
to call him
yeah,
Miro.
GSP was the guy that got me into the UFC. So I mean, I'm all in on him, but at this point, that he has no business with Whitaker or Woodley. No way.
No, totally. Whitaker is just like a tad undersized for middleweight, but he's so fast and he's so precise. Uh, you know,
He hits so hard. Everything that he hits with, it just when it lands with meaning. And that's what I like most about him. Like it's not punches and bunches. It's similar to Connor and it's similar to other guys like the next level, the next generation. They're not like the Nick Diaz's or the old school guys where they're just kind of tapping in just to see what the guy's feeling out. They're going all in right out the gate.
Yeah, I think if Bisping wasn't the champion, I don't think there is a way in hell that GSP's comeback fight would have been at 185.
no way. I agree.
I think it's real convenient that he's got colitis. Is that what it is right now?
But
I think
colitis doesn't feel good, man.
he was going to have an excuse to get the fuck out of that middleweight situation.
Shortest title reign in the promotion's history, man. Like, what was it, 30 days? Like just over a month?
That's right. And I like that he gave it up too. He wasn't playing no games with everybody. And now we get to see Rockhold and Whitaker, which is, those are probably the two best middleweights on the planet right now.
Just hypothetically speaking, though, could you imagine GSP Whitaker in Whitaker's backyard?
Be hype.
That would be something else.
That card's looking nice, man. Mark Hunt, Curtis Blades. If I could make an early prediction right now, I could see Rose Joanna 2 ending up as the co-main on that card.
I would hope so because, it was supposed to be Rose and Torres on that card.
I like the UFC's call putting Torres and Andrade in Orlando. I like that idea.
Oh, Joanna Rose 2 is the fight. I mean,
I agree.
Defended her title, 5 times?
Yeah, I would have been shocked. I was shocked when I saw the Torres Rose rumors in the first place. What do you guys think? That card, see, I know that card is shaping up real nice. There are only 4 fights on that Vegas card next March. It's you see they added Arlovsky and Stefan Struve today?
Oh, to the UFC 222.
Yeah, in Vegas.
Yeah. That's interesting. You guys that just love to get knocked out.
Dude, and I heard there's rumors that Kat Zingano's return will be on that card against Ketlin Vieira. O'Malley's on that card. Hector Lombard, CB Dollaway. Interesting.
Can we talk
all 4 of those fights
for a second because
totally
that kid could be the truth. He's so long for that weight class. He's so electrifying. I mean, the kid's so exciting.
That was my favorite Contender Series fight to watch. Him and Kasakian.
I agree.
I think Snoop Dogg would agree. Wouldn't that be the most awesome job in the world? Like, Uriah Faber's got it set. You sit next to Snoop Dogg, you smoke blunts, you drink gin and juice, and you watch dudes get knocked out.
And you know what is so sad about that is Snoop did such a horrible job. Like, he was so disrespectful to the fighters. Like, I was so hyped for that when it got announced. Seeing like Snoop's like Animal Planet commentary and all that shit. I thought it was gonna be gold, but he ended up having no respect.
It was funny seeing Uriah's reactions to like letting Snoop just take over too. Like he was just kind of. There was a couple of times they'd like go to them and Uriah would just be sitting there like looking at him and just pure awe.
Bro, he couldn't believe that he was sitting in the same room as Snoop Dogg, smoking and drinking while covering the sport that, he participated in. You would get the sense when you looked at him that he had like this sense of disbelief where he was and what he was doing.
Like Uriah got it when he got into the sport. Not even when he got into the sport. Let's say like back in the WEC days.
Yeah.
He never, ever, ever pictured himself in that position.
No.
There's no way he could ever foresee that. Like, I can't even believe it.
All right. Moving on to the next one. What are we thinking about the welterweight class with Darren Till? He's going off on everybody. Nobody wants to give up their spot. Everyone's backing out and everything, this and that. Nick, you
Till
and I
and
were
Mike
talking.
Perry, man.
You like that? You like Perry?
I like a Darren Till Mike Perry fight. I love the idea of that fight.
I agree. I mean, it sucks that Perry couldn't get through Ponzinibbio, because the fight would have been that much more
Yeah.
fight. But at the same time, these are the two most down guys at welterweight. Like, these are the guys that want to get it in. Everybody else just wants to sit and hold their spot in the rankings.
Exactly. Those four guys right there between Till, Covington, Ponzinibbio, and Perry, like those guys are hungry and they're willing to give up what it takes. But then you got the guys like RDA, Wonder Boy, Lawler. I mean, I can see Lawler taking a Covington fight at this point.
I think we're missing. Me and Dietrich were talking about this guy the other day. We're missing somebody out that's going to be a problem. Usman is a problem, man.
I don't know. Like he could have taken up Till on his offer, and he punked out too. I don't know.
Did he turn down the Till fight?
There wasn't ever like an offer or anything. It was more of just like a Twitter exchange between Till and Usman. I mean, that's what really got Till kind of ticked and made him go off on Twitter. Is just the fact that like you guys keep saying, like there was traction to it, but there was nothing ever done on paper. So I mean, it's just everyone's at a stagnant point right now where everybody's just scared to move.
Usman's going to fight Emil Meek, and Emil Meek was having those visa issues, so that fight was off. And I think that's when, Usman was looking for a new opponent.
Yep.
But it's back on.
He wanted Colby, and apparently Colby turned it down multiple times.
I'm sure he did because Colby's angling for the Woodley fight. Obviously, he won't shut the fuck up.
Nope. But, he's hilarious, man. He is a riot.
I do think he's funny, but I think he's overdoing it a little bit.
Calling everybody virgins has me, dude.
I do like the nerd bashing.
Yeah.
Virgin bashing.
Bro, he's like a high school bully. He's literally a bully.
Yeah, he is.
That's what's getting fights now. Unfortunately, it's just people like it's just funny because the people like Demetrius Johnson, who you'll never see speak out of terms at any point in time, are some of the greatest out there. Whereas now you have all these up and comers that have to throw water bottles and monster bottles like Connor at media exchanges just to try and get notoriety. And it's I don't know. I think it's not necessarily bad for the sport because, I mean, it's great from a media standpoint because you could write about it all day long. But, I mean, I'd rather see it done in the octagon rather than on Twitter or on social media.
I agree. Definitely. And like Chael said, if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack a few eggs. And that's what Covington's goal is. But at the same time, it seems like it's just kind of worn out. Like, you got to have a little bit more charisma with it, like Chael, like a Connor. It seems forced to me.
It's definitely forced. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Real quick, before we get into this weekend's card, there was a fight announced today, another fight on the Perth card. I'm kind of new to this guy. Have you guys ever heard of Israel Adesanya? Izzy Adesanya?
Never in my life.
Yeah, he's undefeated, 11-0. He's taking on Rob Wilkinson, who's 11-1. They booked that fight today for Perth.
Ooh, this is the kickboxer guy, actually, right?
Yeah, apparently, I did a little bit. I just looked a little bit at a couple of things while I was at work, and this fight.
Hey, if he's anything like Gokhan Saki, I'm in.
Really sad he's not going to be fighting this weekend.
Oh, that's right. He was on this card against Roundtree.
Supposed to fight Khalil Roundtree. Yep.
Man, that would have been a fucking burner.
You see the Roundtree interview? He said if he wins on Saturday, he said, I want Saki next. He said, I still want that fight.
Hey. I like that.
Roundtree and Saki was a great matchup. Saki really thinks he can contend at 205 pounds.
Oh, yeah. I don't doubt that for a second.
Bad man. What we got next?
His debut. Just real quick before we move on. I mean, he looked good in all aspects of the sport.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bright future.
One of the dudes we neglected in the welterweight division has beef with the middleweight guy. We got Jorge Masvidal and Michael Bisping going back and forth in their DMs, sliding into DMs back and forth on Instagram.
Screenshot.
Do we see a potential super fight in there, or what are you guys thinking?
What do you think, Nick?
Yo, I love it. Jorge Masvidal doesn't give a fuck. He'll fight Bisping at 205, let alone 185.
He would fight Bisping, dude. He'd fight Bisping anywhere.
I don't need to see Bisping get knocked out again, man. One more fight before retirement, and I think the Masvidal fight. That could easily headline an FS1 card. You know?
London card.
The beef is there, the story is there, and it's an easy enough fight for Bisping. It doesn't scare me for Bisping. Which he now wants to fight Yo Romero or somebody of this type, like.
And he needs to re-up his cred after getting knocked out like that against Kelvin Gastelum too. That was a Hendo comeback all over again.
You know, to be honest with you, if I had to, you know, put money on it, I can't see Bisping ever taking a fight with Masvidal. He doesn't seem interested in anything Masvidal has to say, you know, to his face, let alone, you know, I think there would be a stalemate of, you know, what division they would be fighting in, you know, would they fight at a catch weight? Would they, you know, I totally agree with you that, you know, Masvidal doesn't give a shit. He would fight him at heavyweight. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I completely agree. Practically, there's no way. Like, there's no reason for Bisping to take that fight. The ball's in Masvidal's court for that, but it's fun to kind of imagine.
Bisping has been on record saying that he wants the easiest fights for the most amount of money. And
you can't blame him, man.
I think fighting at welterweight, who's fought at lightweight, you know, where there's a backstory, I think this is what he wants. And yeah, you can't blame him. That's what everybody should be aiming for.
And Bisping's undefeated at light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I might be misquoting Bisping. I believe Chael has said that in the past. I'm not sure if Bisping has.
Chael said a ton of shit, man. I watched so many Chael quotes. Dude, you know what? I want to fucking hang out with Chael Sonnen. Wouldn't that be the shit? Like, just get a beer with him. Talk to him about life. Not even about MMA.
Oh, yeah. Probably any MMA fighter out there, that's probably who I would pick.
No question.
Me too. That, before we get into this weekend's card, him and Rampage. What do we think about that?
Go ahead, Nick.
No, you can go ahead, but
I don't even know I love everything about what Bellator is doing with that. The entire pre itself is it's fascinating. That one in particular, I don't know. I can't see anything other than the decision. To be honest, I think Rampage will just battle it out, but that's just me.
I think Chael wins the decision. Yeah, I think he's able to take him down fairly easily.
I mean, how can we expect Rampage to be like in good shape? You know, I've seen videos of him training. He looks like he's training hard, but like, man, Rampage is like, how old is Rampage? Does anyone know how old Rampage is?
Look it up.
My guess is 35 or 36.
I was about to say late 30s. You might be spotting him a few years, my man. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure.
He's 39 years old. Woo!
You're right, Davidson.
Chael's in the same ballpark too.
And Rampage is going to come into this fight at like 260 pounds. Look,
yeah.
I mean, he's going to be a lot bigger than Chael, but he's going to be a lot slower, a lot more out of shape.
Yep.
I like Chael. I think this is Chael's best matchup in the tournament.
I agree. Do you like how they've matched up the two pairings of light heavyweights? Like they had those guys, and then they have Bader and King Mo, and then they matched up the other heavyweights. You know, Fedor and Mir, Fedor and Mir, and Mitrione and Big Country.
You know what? The one change I would have done in the matchmaking, I would love to see Fedor and Rampage first round. That's the fight I want to see out of this whole Grand Prix. I mean,
yeah, get that pride, get those pride days out there.
It happened in 2005, but I still want to see that shit. Somebody's getting knocked out in that fight.
Oh yeah, I think someone might be getting knocked out in all the fights.
I think it'd be even funnier to see Frank Mir fall on a knee bar on Fedor and just see Fedor cry about it. That'd be really funny.
That is the biggest head. That one right there is the biggest head scratcher to me. Fedor and Frank Mir. I'm having a hard time deciding who I think is going to win that because I got Bader, Mitrione, and Chael, and I don't know who I got in Fedor and Mir.
Who's the favorite in this tournament, do you guys think?
Mitrione is the betting favorite.
I would have to agree. Him or Bader would probably be my picks.
Wow. Okay. You think Bader? Okay.
I mean, Bader's fighting King Mo first round.
Yep.
That should be pretty easy work.
You think so?
Oh, I think so. I think King Mo his fighting style is lousy. I've never been a big fan. I don't see. I think Bader hits too hard. I think he's too quick. I think he there's no way King Mo's gonna be able to take Bader down.
Yeah. Once we get to that time, I think we could do something creative with Bellator tournament picks between all of us, which brings us to this weekend. Let's talk about Khabib first. Featherweight?
Look, I heard not literally 2 weeks ago, Josh Thompson was saying that it's inevitable that Khabib's going up to 170. The guy is just too big for lightweight.
I would totally think that's the move.
Seeing how ripped and cut he is.
Yes.
See that picture that came out of him?
Corey, dude, you've had to have seen his pictures lately, man. Like,
oh yeah, no, that and like his nutritionist John Milton is taking full credit of it. Like if you follow him on Twitter, he's posting pictures of his meals every single day. It's like a plate like that big.
Is his name Tyler Milton?
Or yeah, you're right. Yeah, Tyler.
He works with Holloway and Cormier.
Yep.
He's Holloway's new nutritionist too.
Yeah, he was the one that told Daniel to push down on the towel so he could cut that pound and a half.
This is 206. This is an interesting kind of dynamic of this fight. Khabib's always used to being the bigger, heavier guy, and it plays well to his style. But now that he's coming in, what's he weighed in at 169 on Monday. I mean, the dude is usually cutting down from about 180, 183 to 155. So we're gonna have to see how this one plays out with Edson, because
that's my upset call of this card. I got Edson. I think he's gonna give him a TKO in the third round. I think he's gonna play it smart. He's not gonna let Khabib be able to play his game.
Can't go to the ground.
He can't, and I don't think he will. I mean, if you watching Edson time after time again, his greatest asset is just being able to space and stay away. And he has those long legs. He has those long arms. Every single time he throws a combination, he's in and out, and he's making sure that nobody's stepping in. Every single fight that he fights, it's his game, strictly. So I think he plays it smart, and I think he's going to come up with an upset in this one.
The only thing I see, because I've got Khabib pretty confidently in this, but where I see there being a problem is, the only time I've really ever watched Khabib have any type of issue, while he did for a majority of the Michael Johnson fight have his way, Michael Johnson had him wobbled. He had him hurt.
And a lot of fighters talk, they say there's no such thing as ring rust. I disagree 100%. And Khabib's been away for so long. He's been trying to keep that 0 next to his win column. I don't see him come in and just be able to immediately take Edson down at any point in time. And even if he takes him down, I mean, Edson's only a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but we've seen him time and time again be able to play off his back. Fantastic. But, I mean, Khabib's a different animal on the ground.
Look, I'm picking Khabib in this fight pretty confidently as well. He's actually my lock.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
The thing is, we've seen Edson kind of give up in the past. And look, yeah, he does well getting up off his back. He can play pretty good off the bottom, but nobody can play good off the bottom with Khabib. Like, it's a whole nother animal. But one thing I will say that's an interesting part of this fight is I don't think Edson's in any danger of getting taken down when he kicks Khabib.
Yeah.
His kicks are so goddamn fast, and they snap right back. That
Mm-hmm.
that I think Khabib's gonna have a hard time catching those legs. And man, if he takes one of those switch kicks to the body, I mean, it could crumble him, and you could see Khabib stumble down. Like it's a real possibility. That
Only
being
guy
said, I
in
think
UFC history
he's
to
gonna be
stop two guys from leg kicks, man.
Mm-hmm.
No. Still talking on this card, question for you guys. What's the prelim you guys are most excited to see? I'm really interested in seeing newcomer Mark De La Rosa and Tim Elliott. That's the very first fight of the night.
I was gonna say the Fight Pass prelim with Tim Elliott. It's gonna be interesting to see. You know, Tim Elliott's coach Robert Flawless just committed suicide.
Yeah, yep.
What,
Mm-hmm.
5 days ago, a week ago. So it's gonna be interesting to see his mindset and not even concerning that. Tim Elliott's just so goddamn fun to watch.
I'm interested in how do you pronounce his name? Matu Nicolau and Luis Smolka. I'm interested in seeing what Smolka is going to bring in.
Smolka's on a 3-fight skid. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and he's a tall flyweight. He's 5'9".
Yeah, I thought for a second there when he was surging that he could possibly challenge Demetrius, but
He lost to a couple people that have. I know one of them was Ray Borg.
yeah, he lost to Ben Wynn, Tim Elliott, and was it Ray Borg?
Yeah, it was. I know he lost to Ray Borg. He lost to Ben Wynn and Tim Elliott too. You know, that whole division beats up on each other. You know, and Demetrius just kind of stands there and watches. But I think, yeah, I'm interested to see Tim Elliott. I'm interested in seeing Roundtree's fight too. I think the guy that they picked to replace Saki's won 11 in a row. I could be wrong. It might be 10. He was a champion in some European organization. Let's see. He's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
In my bank account.
10. 10 in a row.
Wow, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And I've seen a couple of Roundtree's fights. Let's get to the main card. I know we all got our picks. Nick, how about you let them know of the rules?
All right, so for our future listeners, this is how our fight picks are going to go down. So we're going to be picking the main card fights for each card. Each fight is going to be able to score us a total of 3 points. We get a point for picking the winner, a point for picking the method, the submission or TKO, and a point for the round. If you pick a fighter by decision, it's only going to be worth 2 points. And another interesting variable we're adding in is our lock and upset picks, which are going to be worth +2 or -2 respectively. So the maximum amount of points you could earn on a fight would be 5 points if you're able to get the round, method, and winner correct, and have that be an upset. That'd be 5 points, and the worst you could do is to have a -2 score for a fight. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's start with the Carlos Condit versus Neil Magny fight. Personally, I'm taking Condit by decision. I think he's going to be able to outpoint him.
What do you think, Corey?
I'm on the opposite end of the fence. I like I said earlier, I'm a big believer in ring rust. Condit hasn't fought since August 27th of last year. He's coming off of an ACL injury, so I mean the dynamics that we've seen Carlos be able to use with all those kicks and maneuvering abilities, Magny's he's picking up in the division. He's catching some traction, so I think he's going to get the decision. I think he's going to be able to kind of play his game, and Condit's going to kind of have to reacquaint himself with the octagon before he gets his first W.
My take on this fight, was really excited when I first saw this first fight was booked. Mainly, 80% because of Condit's return. Condit's nickname bears a true story to watch, man. He's a natural born killer. To me, Magny looked, in his last couple of fights, Magny looked flat to me against RDA. I mean, nothing to take away against RDA. RDA looked pretty good. But what was Condit's last fight? It was his loss to Damian Maia, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
Quite a while ago. But I like Condit in this fight. I think Condit is going to bring it. I think both guys are going to bring it. Condit, if I had to predict, and we could all be wrong in our predictions, but I think Condit might, lay back for a little bit to start the fight and put his foot on the gas, maybe even halfway through the first round. Magny, even though he's so long and really elusive, I don't see Magny outstriking him, and I see Magny going down TKO. I believe my pick was in the third round. I think I have it almost gone the distance, but I got Carlos Condit via TKO in the third round. Let's see what's next. Nick, get us started on Calvillo and Esparza.
Okay, Calvillo versus Esparza. I really like Cynthia Calvillo. I think she's a big 15-pounder, or maybe Esparza is just especially small for the weight class. Seeing them stand next to each other, but coming out of Team Alpha Male, man, her wrestling and jiu-jitsu is next level. And I think she's going to be able to get the submission. And round 2, I'm going to say rear naked choke, but hey, we don't get points for picking that. Calvillo by second round submission.
What you got, Corey?
You hit the nail on the head with that, Nick. Team Alpha Male all the way. I can't remember who. It wasn't her last fight, but it was a fight before that where she took the fight on a 10-day notice and got a first-round sub. I'm not convinced with Carla. I think that her Ultimate Fighter Championship win was a fluke, and everything since then has been a fluke. I don't see anything from her, so I too have a submission, but I have it even earlier in the second round. I have a first-round sub. And I like her ability to take the back. So, I mean, a rear naked choke, I like the sound of that too.
This is a very interesting strawweight fight. Like we said earlier, Andrade and Torres looks to be the number one contender fight. I think the winner of this fight could put themselves in position to be first up, first in line, maybe next, maybe first in line for being a late replacement in a key contender strawweight fight. I have Calvillo as well. I am buying in the hype. I'm buying in Justin Buchholz being in her corner. I know you guys love Team Alpha Male, but I have Calvillo as well. I have the fight going the distance though. I see it being Calvillo unanimous decision. I don't think it matters in our picks if we pick unanimous or split, but I have Calvillo via decision.
Yeah, there he is. And I agree. I think Calvillo is a serious title threat in 2018.
Agreed 100%. 100%.
All right, moving on to, actually, let's touch a little bit on the fight that was canceled.
Yeah,
totally.
John Lineker.
What's going on with the bantamweight division, man?
A lot of injuries.
I'm not sure why Lineker fell out of the fight.
He had tooth surgery.
He had 2 surgeries?
Yeah, an oral surgery.
Man, and it was looking like we were about to have an even more exciting match between Marlon Moraes and Rivera, but
loved that fight.
Even the first fight with Dominic too. I was excited to see Dominic get back into it, but he just can't stay healthy to save his life. He's a Derrick Rose of MMA.
I like that comparison. The Derrick Rose of MMA. Man.
Unreal.
Yeah, broken arm. He's had knee issues too, right?
Oh yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah, both his knees, right? And then the plantar fasciitis he's been dealing with.
That's a bitch, man.
Being an analyst. I love hearing his insight. Anytime he's on the side of the octagon, every time he's in a pre-fight, he gives us such good analytics and every single thing that happens throughout the fight. No, like I love watching the gorilla moves and everything else that he can do. I love watching him fight, but at this point, I'd rather just hear him as an analyst if he's gonna keep pulling out.
He's back Saturday. He's announcing Saturday night.
Cool.
Yeah, they got him in there instead of Cormier. It's Anik, Rogan, and Cruz. I like Cormier doing commentary too. The Thug Rose chance that he had was like, dude, I like that. I like this guy.
I do prefer Cormier because, I mean, obviously Cruz is the most analytical out there. But Cormier is just as analytical, and he provides a little bit more personality. Cruz and Anik are too robot-y for me.
Touching back on what we were just talking about on the Jimmy Rivera side of things, what I was asking myself is there's one guy that's a bantamweight contender up there that was never even talked about. And I don't know if it's because he fought a couple of months ago. What about Rafael Sunsao? I don't think anyone even thought about
brings him up ever. Yeah, dude's
ever.
25, and I'm pretty sure he's on a 3-fight win streak too, if I'm not mistaken.
Ranked third in the bantamweight division, I believe.
Last loss was to TJ at UFC 200.
Yep.
I think that Rivera, he deserves a moment of silence from each of us, just in the fact that he missed Thanksgiving, he missed Christmas, he even had an anniversary. He was gonna go on a vacation.
Honeymoon, man.
Yeah, the honeymoon. That's what it was. Yeah, not an anniversary. He missed out on everything. He missed out on food, and then midweek, just told him, "All right, stop cutting, man. We can't find anybody for you." So he deserves a moment of silence. That dude's a true grit warrior. He was ready to go.
Completely.
Mad respect for him to be willing to give up 10 pounds and fight at 145 against a dangerous guy like Moraes.
Really dangerous guy.
For whatever reason, acted like he wanted to fight and then didn't. I imagine his managers were in his ear with other plans.
Okay, let's just say hypothetically, though, Moraes takes that fight, somehow wins that fight. I believe it would be in the last 49 days. He will have had wins over John Dodson, Aljamain Sterling, and Jimmy Rivera. Just hypothetically speaking, if that were to have happened, he would have had wins over all three of those guys in less than 2 months.
I think you got to give him the title shot.
if he would have won on Saturday,
especially in spectacular if he would have won in spectacular fashion, that's it. Fuck TJ DJ. You got to give him.
You don't like that fight?
Oh no, I absolutely love it.
Oh, dude, me too. I was about to say.
It is the fight. That is probably the two best guys out there right now.
Yeah, down there. And Garbrandt was woofing about how TJ copied me. He knew that's what I wanted to do. TJ's been wanting DJ for a while. DJ turned him down months ago.
That's right. They were supposed to fight when Garbrandt fell out.
Yeah, Garbrandt can't stop woofing about him, man.
I was really hoping to see Garbrandt win that fight and face TJ, though. But hey, DJ.
And speaking of a Sunsao, I think that's his next fight. A Sunsao Garbrandt, bro.
I
like that. I like Cruz Garbrandt too.
Me too.
Rivera Garbrandt. I like Marlon Moraes Garbrandt.
I like
bantamweight is super fun right now.
Yeah, agreed. If people can stay healthy.
Yeah.
So you can't count out John Lineker either. Just the guys that are injured, the guys that I love watching John Lineker fight.
Totally, man. And our boy O'Malley's in that is trying to surge up that division as well. And he is a huge bantamweight. So tall, so long.
Yeah, he can give guys problems too. I would love to see the trash talk that goes on between a guy like O'Malley or Garbrandt. That is hysterical.
Give it a few years. I think O'Malley's right there. Anyway,
he's got the potential.
Without further ado, let's keep moving along. The fight replacing Rivera and Lineker on the main card is going to be Mark Diakise versus Dan Hooker. An interesting fight. I don't know much about Dan Hooker besides that spectacular finish he had over Ross Pearson. Other than that,
I remember watching that because it was on during the middle of the day. It was that New Zealand card, so it was on during the middle of the day. What was the other guy's name?
Mark Diakise. He's an animal.
Big prospect. Yeah. Very, very big prospect. He was undefeated going into his last fight with Drakkar Klose. I think he lost a decision. They were both undefeated at the time. I saw Close lose the 0 on his loss column in Detroit a few weeks ago. That was the most boring fight of the night, though. Him and Tamor almost put me to outside of Pettis and Cejudo. Pettis and Cejudo was a sleep fest.
And it's funny because on paper, Close versus Tamor was shaping up to be one of the fights of the night. Those
Totally.
Fucking bring it.
They had to warn Tamor for timidity. They had to warn him because he wasn't engaging.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tamor was just wait. Oh yeah, he was telling Close that he wasn't engaging, right?
No, Tamor.
Yeah, and Tamor looked at the ref like, I'm fucking fighting. Shut the fuck up, please.
I didn't mind him giving him a warning. I thought Tamor was kind of running away. But then after that, he started.
I thought he was just standing in front of him and waiting for Close to come, which is
both guys were to blame for that.
Strategy. And whether it's boring or not, the ref can't, step in and say something. I mean, it's the same with most stand-ups. I don't agree with stand-ups.
No, me neither. So moving on, Khabib and Barboza. Nick and I, you and I got Khabib, right?
We need to make our picks on the Diakese.
You and I got Khabib, right? Diakese. I have Diakese via second round TKO.
I have him via decision. I think it's going to be a close fight, and I think he's going to be able to edge him.
I'm just going with Hooker just because I've only seen him. I like what I saw from New Zealand. So, all I got there.
Moving on.
Yeah, very interesting. They put that on the main card, but
yeah.
I think they're trying. I think they like that Diakese kid, and they're trying to hype him.
100%. He'd be a big draw for England too.
Oh, that's absolutely right. All right, moving on to the fight I am most looking forward to on this card: Khabib versus Edson Barboza. Like I said before, I like Khabib in this fight. He is such a fucking animal when he gets on top, and I expect him to do just that. We've seen Barboza get submitted before. Donald Cerrone and Tony Ferguson tapped him out, which are obviously no slouches.
Beautiful Darce choke too.
Yes, and what was one of the fights of the year.
Uh-huh.
And this is actually going to be my lock pick. I'm picking Khabib to finish Barboza with strikes in the very first round. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I changed my pick, and I'm reading off my Word document. Khabib via TKO in the third round.
Corey, what you got, man?
Yeah, I'm the only one with Edson. I think he's going to be just fine. I think Khabib's going to be rusted. I'm still not sold on Khabib. I mean, like you guys keep mentioning, and I mean, it's in plain sight. He's a different animal once he gets on the ground. But I see Edson keeping his distance and just chopping down his legs. Edson, third round TKO.
If Edson can keep the fight standing up, I definitely think there's a significant chance he can steal this fight from Khabib. I think saying that he's going to keep it on the feet and doing obviously a completely different animal. I like Khabib via TKO, ground and pound, round 2, and that is also my lock for the main card. So let's get to the main event.
And what is an interesting contrast of styles? Holly Holm versus Juice to the Gills Cyborg.
What do you think, man? It's the classic striker versus counter puncher here. I know you changed your pick. Why'd you change your pick?
Well, I changed my pick from Holm winning via fifth round TKO because I thought maybe Cyborg would tire and she could catch her with a punch and finish with a flurry. But realistically, I see Cyborg. Well, I'm still picking Holm, but I'm picking her by decision because I think that she's just going to be able to outpoint her. She's going to be on her bike, moving around, which is her game. Her A+ game is sticking and moving. I think Cyborg, who usually bomb rushes people, is going to take a little bit more of a measured approach and at least start slower and maybe try to stick behind her jab. And maybe we could even see Cyborg try to use her high level jiu-jitsu game for the first time. But I do like Holm to win via a decision. I think she outpoints her and outclasses her on the feet. And that's going to be my upset pick.
And Corey, what we got from you?
I'm on the opposite side of the fence. Like you said, Cyborg's juice to the gills. I'd take her over half of the guys in the UFC. I think
Wow.
Cyborg is just unreal, man. She's my lock. I got a second round knockout. She's gonna get it done early. I don't think Holly Holm has seen anything like her. I mean, she's seen the likes of her in like her kickboxing days, and even like a few glimpses in the UFC. But Cyborg's a different animal. There's just something about her. I don't think anybody could beat her.
Who are you going with your upset, Corey? Hooker or Edson?
Edson.
Edson. Okay.
Very good.
I fought long and hard about this one. And I went back and rewatched all of Cyborg's, if I may add, very quick fights. A couple of them are just like, oh my God, that I forget the girl's name, but it was a Strike Force fight, the one that turned into a no contest. I could see why she tested positive for that, man. Like, just came out and just boom, 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 right away. She might have higher testosterone levels than half the guys in the UFC. Now we're talking about beating half the guys in the UFC. Backing off on that, I also have Holly Holm in a what would be a huge upset. I thought very long and hard on this and really wanted to go with the easy pick and picking Cyborg. I have Holly going the distance, almost going the distance. I have Holly with a TKO in round 4, I believe. I originally said 3 and originally thought 3, but I think it's going to go into the championship rounds. And I like Holly Holm and new featherweight champion of the world. That is my upset as well.
It would be crazy.
All right.
Like you said, Holmes never fought anybody like Cyborg. But on the other end of that, Cyborg's never fought anybody like
anybody.
Holmes. He's
completely agree.
A bunch of girls that had no business being in the octagon with her.
No.
For the first time, I think we're going to see her get tested a little bit, regardless of the outcome.
How can you be a manager for an MMA fighter and have a contract to fight Cyborg sent to you? How in a million years can you tell your client to take that fight is my question. Like Leslie Smith, Lena Landsberg, who in their corner told them, yeah, take that fight. You got it.
They're fighters for a reason, man. They're fucking crazy, and they want to
totally agree.
They're the very best out there.
With Greg Jackson's, anything is possible, man. Greg Jackson and Holly Holm, that's a dangerous combination.
Absolutely.
All right. It is December 29th. It is almost 2018. So with that being said, we've had a fantastic year of fights, fantastic year of upsets, fantastic breakouts, submissions, knockouts. Let's start off our year-end awards with first fighter of the year. Davidson, who do you got?
I have Volkan Ozdemir as my fighter of the year. He had 3 very, very impressive victories. I believe he had a decision win over OSP, and he had 2 quick knockouts against guys that are no joke. He knocked out Serkinov, and he knocked out Jimmy Manuwa. I loved seeing him knock out Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy Manuwa was a prick leading up to that fight. Said he didn't even I remember someone asking him you blah blah blah, you taken much into your opponent? He's like, no, not really. And you're just like, okay, man. I really like Volkan Ozdemir as my fighter of the year. 3 very impressive wins. And what I like more about it is outside of Serkinov, since he just came off that loss to Shera, OSP had a great year too. And for him to have beaten OSP like he did, I know it went the distance. But Volkan Ozdemir definitely coming out of nowhere, coming out of absolutely nowhere, earning his title shot, which I believe he definitely deserved. The fans want to see him and Cormier. I don't know if I specifically think he's going to beat Cormier, but he's my fighter of the year for 2017.
Before he beats Cormier, he's going to have to beat that case and not beat any more people up in Florida either, though.
I'd like to make a correction. He actually had 4 fights this year.
He did.
He knocked that dude out in the bar.
So it started out as a second felony as a battery charge. Got talked down to a third. I don't know where his confidence is coming from. He must have a lot of money going into his lawyer because, I mean, that's going to be – I think they said that it was January 9th that he's going to get this arraignment case, and then he fights January 20th. So, I mean, in that 11-day break, he's going to have – Nick and I were talking about it earlier. Me personally, I think anyone who fights DC is cursed. That fight's just go through.
I never thought about that.
Again.
All right, my fighter of the year is Max Blessed Holloway.
Cupcakes.
The dude is looking like one of the goats potentially, and I know he beat Jose Aldo twice, but the second time that wasn't his fault, and he did it even more impressively the second time.
Definitely.
He was walking through all those punches. And you don't walk through all those punches. He was taking his leg kicks and looking at him and saying, hit me. The dude was looking like Lomachenko with those combinations in that second fight. I've never seen anything like it against Aldo. I mean, aside from the McGregor fight, Aldo is one of the GOATs, man. And whether he's on the down slide of his career or not, you know what? I don't think he is. I think he beats everybody else at featherweight except for Holloway.
How many wins he has in a row? 11?
He's a dog, and not to mention, yeah, he's won 11 fights in a row against the best guys. I think you could, based on that, you could say he's the best featherweight of all time.
One of, man. I think he's got some defending to do. I'm going to talk about him a little bit more when we get to our 2018 predictions, but I think our pod's at 50 minutes right now, so let's get along with some of these awards. Corey, who's your fighter of the year?
Yeah, real quick. I won't go into it too much, but I got Robert Whittaker as mine. I had Max and DJ an honorable mention, but the way Whittaker just took over that middleweight division, if GSP wouldn't have come back, I think he would have taken Bisping too, and that would have just added even more to the conversation and really kind of capitalized his argument for fighter of the year. So moving on from that, fighter of the year, now we got fight of the year. I know we're all in agreement there. That's just as easy as it gets. Michael Johnson and Justin Gaethje, I think is how you pronounce it. Those two just went at it.
That's unanimous, right? We all think that's fight of the year for all of us, right?
I think that's the easiest pick.
Yeah, and then the next one we got upset of the year. I think we all said Rose Joanna too, just to speed it up a little bit.
I think that's unanimous as well. Rose over Joanna on a night full of upsets.
Exactly. That card was just unreal.
Nick, that was your upset of the year as well, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, if there was ever a lock of locks, it was Joanna over Rose.
Totally.
And for her to come out there and drop her once and then knock her out, man, I never envisioned that happening to Joanna. I thought if anything, Rose might be able to slip on her back and sink in a choke, but to knock her out, unbelievable.
What's next? Do we comeback fighter of the year? We all unanimously have GSP, don't we?
Most definitely.
I don't see how anyone else could be the comeback fighter of the year.
Me neither.
So
no argument
made for GSP. I mean, coming back after 4 years and getting in there with Bisping, who was an animal, future Hall of Famer. I mean, great at a weight class above what he used to compete.
Yep.
Totally, man. What we got next? Knockout of the year.
Knockout of the year. Who wants to begin this?
Corey, what do you got?
That one, yeah. I got Taiwan Claxton with that flying knee. Bellator had like 3 different flying knees. I know you had Paul Daly with his, but I thought Taiwan Claxton, he had to have cleared at least 6 to 8 feet with that leap and just closed in on dude. I was astonished. I watched that probably for 4 days straight just to get my adrenaline pumping. I loved every second of that.
As Corey aforementioned, my knockout of the year was a Bellator flying knee as well. Paul Semtex Daly's flying knee against Brendan Ward, man. Like, he came off the cage, hit him with a spinning back fist, which wobbled him and then just set it up. And, dude, like Jimmy Smith said, like, boom, like, really impressive. Paul Daly came up a little short on the guy he called out, but my knockout of the year, Paul Daly over Brendan Ward.
Hey, it was the year of flying knees, and there was a lot to choose from. I'm going with Edson Barbosa over Beneil Dariush for my pick. Probably the most beautifully timed flying knee I've ever seen in my life. Beneil Dariush was coming forward with that. He was jab, and then shooting a takedown over and over again in the fight. And Edson noticed that, and he even lands the jab on Edson's face. And once he gets touched with that jab, he just leaps, and boom, you know the rest.
Just like it's gonna happen on Saturday when he flying knees Habib too. Just wait on it.
Mm-hmm.
We got submission of the year, guys. Corey, you can go first.
Yep, I think Nick and I were both in agreement on DJ's flying armbar with Ray Borg. That was just unreal. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think there's any argument.
Yeah,
it was spectacular.
I agree completely. The suplex to armbar. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. And just you saw it in the post-fight reactions. I mean, Twitter blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Also,
to break the record, man.
I'd like to give an honorable mention to Alexei Oleinik. This motherfucker hit an Ezekiel choke from bottom out in the UFC. Dude,
unreal.
Ezekiel choke no gi jiu-jitsu was hard, let alone in the UFC from bottom mount.
Against Victor Pesta. That was unreal. I went a little bit outside the box. You know, I mean, do I believe that BJ's submission of the year or submission against Borg was probably the most spectacular submission of the year? Yes, but how about Brian Ortega, man? Literally launching himself into what seemed like orbit and just latching on to Swanson's neck, losing grip of it, and then catching himself while attached to him like a damn spider, bro. Dude, love Brian Ortega. He's one of my favorite guys in all of the sport.
I don't think Henry Gracie had more of an erection than when he saw Ortega finish that submission. And honestly, man, I feel like if they would have had a close up on Henry Gracie, he probably would have had a full hard on. There's the readjustment that you mentioned where he snatched down in the midair. He opened up his legs from guard, which is something, if you have a guy like Cub Swanson in your guard, you never open up your guard. Readjusted, closed it, made it even tighter. It was just textbook.
Yeah, amazing. And we're getting close to an hour, so to wrap up our first podcast, let's go with big predictions for 2018. I'm excited to hear these from you guys. One of you guys can start it off.
Or you can go ahead.
I can. Corey, go ahead, man.
All right. So my first bold prediction of 2018, I don't see Conor McGregor living through 2019. I think he's going to see the end of his days in 2018 with his newborn coke habits and his beef with the Irish mob.
You think he's going to die?
I think he's going to get whacked. Like, as Nick mentioned, OD, he's going to get whacked. Something's going to happen out there in the streets. That dude is just wilding out too hard. I like respect to the boy Conor, but, rest in peace, my dude.
This man said he's going to die.
And I got one other one. This is my hot take right here. I think that Ronda Rousey's going to make her comeback. Ooh. She's going to go to Greg Jackson's gym. She's going to squash the beef with Holly Holm. She's going to get her hands actually on point for once. Greg Jackson and Winklejohn just do a fantastic job with all their fighters. And then Holly Holm will eventually get her title back one way or another. And it's probably because Cyborg is going to pop on her USADA test. And then as soon as they schedule the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm 2, she's going to go back to Coach Edmond, and then they're going to give all the credit to Coach Edmond. So we're going to get another TJ Cody kind of face-off where we got the gym swapping beef, and Ronda Rousey's going to get her revenge on Holly Holm.
These are bold.
Bold indeed.
Wow. I can entertain that because Ronda didn't take herself out of the USADA pool. Dana said that, fighters that are inactive have the option to take themselves out of the pool, and Ronda just won't do it.
All right, here's my first bold prediction, which I actually believe. First of all, I think that Francis Ngannou is going to knock Stipe the fuck out on January 20th.
Agreed.
I think that sets up a fight which John Jones should be participating in. It's a super fight with Brock Lesnar for the heavyweight title. And I think Brock Lesnar is going to be able to wrestle fuck Ngannou and win the strap in 2018. Which hopefully sets up a matchup with John Jones once he's able to get free of this,
that coke creatine.
Unreal, man.
Steroids laced in coke. Yeah, I don't buy that shit, but I hope he's able to come back.
Dude, he might face what USADA came out with. He could catch up to a 4-year suspension if this stuff actually goes through. So we may see the last of John Jones if this
I've seen some information that he might get off scotch-free, though.
I have seen that information as well.
All right, my second bold prediction. I'm going to go two ways on this. This has to do with your boy, Brian T. Studio Ortega.
Yep.
I believe that he will flying triangle Max Holloway in 2018. And to back off that a little bit, I believe that he's going to land a flying triangle, whether it's against Max Holloway or anybody else. T-City, living up to his nickname, will flying triangle someone.
Man, that kid oozes with charisma. I really, really like Brian Ortega. So I have just a few. They're nowhere near as bold as you guys.
Conor McGregor dying.
Yeah, Conor McGregor getting clapped is pretty unreal. So here's what I got. I got 4. Real brief. I think Max Holloway begins kind of well, even though it already has with his first defense over Aldo. I think he'll defend 2 more times in 2018. I don't like Frankie Edgar in that matchup at all. Nothing against Frankie Edgar. Dude's tough as nails. And what he did to Yair Rodriguez was pretty amazing. But I don't like that matchup for Frankie at all. I think Max walks right through him. I see Max having a little bit of a problem with whoever would win a potential fight, if I'm a matchmaker, between Emmett and Ortega. If they want to give Emmett that skip of the line like that. But I could see Emmett and Ortega fighting to fight Max. And I don't know if I don't know. I like the flying triangle Ortega prediction. I don't know if he'll pull it off against Holloway. I think we're about to see next year some amazing things from Max Holloway. Next, I think Tony and Conor will be booked for 222, and I like Tony. I don't think Conor's ever fought anybody like Tony. I think Tony's too long, too well-rounded, and Tony has all the tools to be a reigning lightweight champion of the world. Stacked division, but Tony's already won 10 in a row in it.
That's going to be a fight to book when Conor's 6 feet under.
Is 222 on St. Patrick's Day?
It's, I think, 5 days after. It is on March. No, it's actually before. It's on March 3rd.
Okay, I agree with that then. If it was after, then yeah, Conor would be dead. So,
weak. I think Francis Ngannou also knocks out Stipe, and I believe with a Cain Velasquez fight mixed in, even though Cain will have to definitely fight someone first, I believe Francis Ngannou will begin his reign as the longtime heavyweight champion of the world and future GOAT in that division. I don't see Lesnar holding his jock. I think the second Ngannou connects with Lesnar, Lesnar just goes down. I mean, could you imagine if Lenzer took a body shot from Ngannou? Man, he's going down.
That Excalibur sword will absorb it all. Don't worry. That's what that's for.
Lastly, to wrap it up, man, I think no matter if DC beats Vulcan and defends one more time, no matter if DC loses, no matter if DC defends 2 more times, and no matter what happens with John Jones, I believe DC and John Jones 3, the idea of it will never come to fruition, and DC retires next year with the ghost of John Jones haunting him for the rest of his legacies.
For the rest of his life. That's a good take. I agree 100%,
Hey,
man.
one more thing. Look out for DC to challenge for that heavyweight strap in 2020.
Yep.
Ooh, I like that.
He would never beat Ngannou, but man, I'm telling you, I love Ngannou. I'm really high. I'm really high on Ngannou.
Absolutely. Oh, and I never got to say, we never said our breakout fighters of the year. I'm not going to get into it, but Ngannou was my breakout fighter of the year.
Mine was Ozdemir as well.
It's like Bujan, whatever, to knocking out Arlovsky and Overeem in the very first round. The dude's the truth.
I had Vulcan as mine. I mean, like you had him as fighter of the year, but breakout for me, like you kept saying, he just came out of nowhere. I think honorable mention Calvillo, depending on what happens this weekend. I mean, just like you guys said, if she can overcome Carla Esparza, that puts her in the conversation for a title. And I mean, that's 4 straight in 1 year.
Yeah, honorable mention for me is Darren Till. Dude, I love the swagger that kid gives off. It's going to be a really exciting card on Saturday night. Really, really exciting future next year for 2018. Guys listening, we're getting ready to launch a Twitter, launch a website. Expect us to go anywhere soon. This is Gringo Gossip, our first podcast, pretty successful, and I'm signing off right here with my guys Corey and Nick. Guys, you got anything else to say?
Nothing, brother. Let's keep this thing going, and we'll do it.
Rest in peace, Conor McGregor. All right, fellas.
All right.